Hello and welcome back to the Commander Crucible. This is our first video in a while, but hopefully you enjoy this quick 1v1. Today we have the Scarab God taking on Animar, Soul of Elements. Both of these decks were built by a good friend of mine named Ryan, who's piloting his Scarab God deck, and he was nice enough to let me borrow Animar for this bout. So let's get into the Crucible. Ryan starts the game with a swamp and then passes to me. I draw my card and play a tap Temple of Mystery, scrying 1. I pass back to Ryan as I decide to put it on the top or the bottom. It goes to the top. Ryan plays a tap Dimir Guildgate and passes back to me. I draw the card I just scryed and play a Rootbound Crag tapped for my turn and pass back to Ryan. Ryan draws and plays another swamp, then plays the Lifebane zombie. When it enters the battlefield, I have to reveal my hand, and Ryan gets to choose a white or green creature card and exiles it. Ryan exiles my Simic Sky Swallower. He finally remembers to tap his mana before passing back to me. I untap, draw, and play a Yamavaya Coast as my land for turn. I then tap out and play Animar and pass to Ryan. Ryan plays an island, followed by a Lightning Greaves. He then attacks me for 3, and I take it, going to 37. Ryan passes back to me, I untap and draw, play a Forest for my land. I tap the Yamavaya Coast, shocking myself for 1 blue to play the Embodiment of Spring, which gives Animar a 1/1 counter, bringing him to a 2/2. I then drop a Divination to draw 2 cards, and move to combat, swinging with Animar, hitting Ryan for 2. Ryan draws, plays another swamp, and casts his commander, the Scarab God, quickly attaching the Lightning Greaves to it. Ryan then goes back to combat and swings at me for 3, which I take, going to 33. Ryan then passes back to me, I untap and draw. I survey my mana and play a mountain. I then tap for 1 blue and cast Brainstorm, drawing 3 cards and putting 2 from my hand back on the top of my library. I then tap out, taking 1 from the Yamavaya Coast and casting an Avalanche Tusker for its reduced mana cost with Animar, giving Animar another 1/1 counter, bringing him to a 3/3. Ryan untaps and informs me that he has 1 zombie, so I lose 1 life and he scries 1. Then draws his card for the turn, plays a swamp, and then casts Divination. Can you tell Ryan puts this card in all his blue decks? Draws 2. Ryan then taps 3 mana for a Cemetery Reaper, giving all his zombies +1/+1. Ryan then moves to combat, attacking me with a 4/2, which I can't block because it has Intimidate, and I take 4, going to 27. Ryan passes back to me, I untap and draw. I play a Cinderglade as my land for turn, untapped. I contemplate my options, looking at all of Ryan's creatures, especially that new one that just came in. I tap 2, and cast Fall of the Hammer, targeting Ryan's Cemetery Reaper with Animar's power, dealing 3 damage to it and killing it. I then tap 3 mana in the Temur colors to cast Guided Passage. Guided Passage says an opponent chooses from among the cards in your library a creature card, a land card, a non-creature card, and a non-land card. You put the chosen cards in your hand and then shuffle your library. Obviously, I choose Ryan to pick all these for me. He chooses a Forest, Robe of Mirrors, Rattleclaw Mystic, and I put those in my hand and shuffle my library. I then attack Ryan with the Avalanche Tusker, which he blocks with the Scarab God. They both go to the graveyard. I pass to Ryan, he untaps and draws. Ryan plays a swamp for his turn, then casts the Scarab God as it returned to his hand, and equips it with the Greaves once again. Ryan then moves to combat, attacking me for 3 with the Lifebane zombie, which I take, going to 24. I untap, draw, play a forest as my land for turn, tap 2 mana to play the Rattleclaw Mystic. Don't know why I didn't morph that. Then Animar gets a 1/1 counter. I then survey my hand, tap all my mana, and with the discounted mana cost, I played the Udvara Hellkite, giving Animar another 1/1 counter. I then moved to combat and attacked Ryan with Animar for 5, as Animar has protection from black. Ryan takes it and goes to 33. Then Ryan controls 1 zombie, so he scries 1, I lose 1, and then he draws the card that he scries. He plays an island. Ryan then pays 4 mana to use the Scarab God's ability to exile my Avalanche Tusker and creates a 4/4 token copy of it. Ryan then pays 3 to cast Murder on my Udvara Hellkite and goes to the graveyard. Sorry, dragon. Ryan then moves to combat, attacking me with the Scarab God and the Intimidate zombie. I block the Scarab God with the Embodiment of Spring and take 3, going to 20 life. I untap, draw my card, I tap 5 mana to cast the Artisan of Kozilek, discounted with Animar, giving him a 1/1 counter and choosing to bring back the Udvara Hellkite from my graveyard to the battlefield. I take 1 to shock myself with the Yamavaya Coast, to cast Robe of Mirrors and equipping it to the Artisan of Kozilek. I then move to combat and attack solely with Animar. Ryan thinks whether he wants to block, and decides to take the damage, going to 24. I pass back to Ryan, who untaps, and on his upkeep he scries 2, and I lose 2, going to 17. He bottoms both the cards and draws his for the turn. Ryan then casts Gisa and Gralf, milling himself. Then taps 3 mana to cast Pilfered Plans on me, to which I mill 2, and Ryan draws 2. Ryan then plays his land for the turn, being an island. Ryan then moves to combat, swinging all 3 of his available creatures, uses the Avalanche Tusker's ability to force me to block with the Artisan of Kozilek. I block the Scarab God with the Udvara Hellkite, and take 3, and go down to 14. After combat, Ryan moves the Greaves onto Gisa and Gralf. And then passes back to me. I untap, draw, and play the Skyline Cascade as my land. It enters tapped, and I choose the Lifebane zombie to not untap on Ryan's next untap step. I count out my mana. I tap 3 of it to play the Whispersilk Cloak. I tap the Rattleclaw Mystic for mana. I go to equip the Artisan of Kozilek. Ryan points out that I can't. I move it over to the Udvara Hellkite. I attack with the Artisan and Udvara, and then I decide to swing with Animar as well. I create a 4/4 red flying dragon because of the Udvara. Ryan takes the damage and goes to 2. He also has to sacrifice 2 permanents because the Artisan of Kozilek, and chooses to sack an island and a swamp. I pass back to Ryan, who untaps, draws his card, plays a swamp for turn, then finally taps out to cast the Scarab God from his hand once again. He then uses Gisa and Gralf's ability to cast a zombie from his graveyard and casts the Cemetery Reaper once again. He moves the Greaves onto Scarab God, and I intervene, casting a Temur Charm, forcing Animar and the Scarab God to fight before the Boots equip is resolved. Ryan then equips the Greaves over to the Cemetery Reaper and swings out. I'm able to block most, and I take 2 damage, going to 12. On the start of my turn, I draw my card, move right to combat, and that's the game. I don't think Ryan really got off to a good start with the Scarab God, as it usually puts out a lot more zombies and drains his opponents for way more life than it did. But his Animar deck performed very admirably, putting down low-cost creatures early on to buff Animar up, and then drawing some cards for the late game when Animar wants to discount the creatures that are being played, getting that great Artisan of Kozilek, bringing back my Utvara Hellkite to get some real board presence and create some tokens, and just get in for some damage. It was a great time and great decks that were played. Thanks for watching.